Welcome back. Another episode, No Cap Sports. Got me, Nick here, Josh, TJ. We haven't had the chance to sit down and talk NFL ball with y'all. So that's what we're coming to y'all with live today. And obviously, we represent three different franchises in the league in terms of our favorite teams, and some of us are in more pain than others. I'm looking at you, TJ, with the Saints being 0-3. But let's start with the game we saw most recently on Monday night. Lions Ravens, and tell me just what was some of y'all's biggest takeaways just from watching that game, a game that saw the Lions take control and truly dominate that game towards the end.
One of my homies in my group chat, especially in the first half, because Lamar, we've seen his progression. It's honestly about time that we had to stop evaluating him in the lens as a guy that we thought was going to just be an athlete, a non pocket passer, and evaluate him as one of the best quarterbacks in the league, which he is. He's got two MVPs to prove it. He the guy in my group chat said it looked like the Ravens are in playoff form, and it definitely did because it's like we see the inaccuracy from Lamar on certain downfield throws. We see just kind of the I don't know, like the rushed nature, I guess I would say, of that offense. We kind of see how Todd Monken's offense kind of bogs down in the playoffs when you have playing better teams, playing better defenses. And I think all of us can agree that was kind of a playoff level game in terms of opponent and eyes on it on Monday night. And yeah, we just saw again. I mean, that was the one thing that hit it right on the head because when the Ravens get in these tight spots, whether it's again Monday night when they're going to be 1-2, we saw it their first game of the year. Also, we saw the last playoff game they had. For whatever reason, the efficiency that they have in the regular season does not translate to postseason game or even big time game at this point. It's I we usually think of basketball more so in terms of the difference between the regular season and the playoffs, just because you're playing the same opponent over. It's multiple. It's a series thing. You have multiple things to play for the opponent. The game length is a lot different. Playoff games happen still once a week like they do in the regular season, but there's such a big there's just a big shift in terms of what the Ravens look like in the postseason versus what they look like in the regular season. And yeah, that looks like what that happened last year. It's getting to the point where I had to say it because the Ravens is the unofficial team for Black folks in America. But anytime I'm seeing Baltimore up against a quality opponent, I'm thinking I'm going to lean towards that quality opponent taking taking the dub versus betting on Lamar. We all know how much fun Lamar is to watch play. We all know previously how dominant that Baltimore defense has been. But until we can prove that, Lamar can honestly get a big time knockout on another, top 3, top 5 quarterback, it's kind of, for me, it's safe to assume that if it's another quality opponent or a playoff game, you're gonna get a below par performance from Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
I don't know, bro, because one thing that stood out to me is you said that you would take an opponent as opposed to betting on Lamar Jackson. Coming into the game on Monday, the Ravens and Lamar Jackson specifically had less than 5 losses to the NFC over the course of Lamar being a starter. And I think when you look at this Ravens team, I think it's unfair to solely point the blame at Lamar and this Ravens offense. Did Todd Monken have his best day on Monday night? On Monday night? Obviously not. You think back to that goal line stop, 4 straight plays. They stopped Derrick Henry for three, try to run a pass on 4th down, doesn't work. So I think those are areas where you can look at guys like Todd Monken and shift some of the blame. But to me, the biggest problem for Baltimore right now is the fact that they've lost their identity of being an AFC North team. They don't play good defense anymore. This is one of the worst defenses in the league, ranking 32nd in pass defense, 31st in rush defense, and you're simply not going to win games like that. And I think it's about time we have the conversation of when do the Ravens stop letting Lamar down instead of when does Lamar stop letting the Ravens down?
Ooh. What say you, TJ?
Sometimes it feels like the Ravens lose these type of games before they even line up. Like we just talk about all this, oh, they can't win these big games. They can't win these big spots. And it felt like they felt that way, kind of how they were pressing. Like the first drive, they get stopped. I can't remember. And then Lamar come on the sideline. He's throwing shit. He's pouting and fussing. When they run the trick play, it's like it feels like they're starting to feel a pressure of, oh, here we go again, another season of us winning all these games and being dominant, and then we get to the playoffs, and then they say we can't win. Oh, damn, look, we lost again. I think back to that season where they went 14-2, and they were one of the most dominant teams we ever seen. And ironically enough, Derrick Henry was the one that hit him over the head with the jump pass, and they went through this whole season and they lost. It feels like they have been doing that for so long. And I mentioned it in the group chat, like they are the inverse of the Chiefs, like a team that we, no matter what they do, no matter how much they might struggle or put themselves in a spot, we assume that they will come through. And Baltimore is the opposite. No matter how many, Lamar has no weapons. Lamar needs an O-line. He needs a defense. Like whatever, and I'm not saying he's to blame, but whatever they are given, like whatever advantageous position the Ravens are in, they always seem to blow it. They just blew a crazy game in week 1, and we're always like, oh, well, this is what they do. They don't think that they can win these games, and sometimes they come out and they press. You abandon the run. Derrick Henry fumbles. The goal line stand was crazy.
Biggest things to me too, bro. The fact that they abandoned the run yet again.
Yeah, like okay, I get it. He's had fumble issues, but like this is one of the most dominant athletes at his position, period, that we've ever seen. Like the Lions might have, stuffed him a few times, but they do not have the personnel to keep stuffing him. The defense will, I promise you've seen it on tape. The defense will wear down far easier than Derrick Henry will. He gets stuffed once or twice, cool. He will run through them way easier than they will keep stuffing. They're going to get tired of stuffing him because he's going to keep coming. He looks for contact. The more you hit him, the more he gets going. Like they just abandon the run. And then you give it to him. He's cold. He's like, all right, well, we're going to drive down the field and throw it 30 times. He damn near probably wasn't expecting him to touch the ball. And he's like, oh, shit, I done fumbled. His big slaw head jumping around on the bench, falling everywhere because he's like, all right, here we go again. This is another game where, I know that they were losing that whole game, but it felt like on that last drive where he fumbled that they could really right the ship and win the game. What is the thing that we say they can't do? They can't, come from behind. They won't keep the lead. They won't do what they have to do in the big spot. And they were like, okay, we might do it this game. Never mind. And they fumbled and then literally fumbled away like all the progress and momentum that they could have had. I just think, like I said before, sometimes they lose these games before they even step on the field. And I feel like it showed through the way that they were pressing early in the game.
Yeah, and so now looking at this Ravens team, they currently sit at 1-2, 3 weeks into the season. But if you think back to last year, this is a team that started 1-2 as well, dropping their first 2 games. So starting 0-2 with losses to Kansas City and the Raiders in a crazy comeback to start last season. So looking at this team, like my big thing with them is, with all these expectations you have, Lamar, you're a multiple time MVP. John Harbaugh, you've won Super Bowls before. Where's the disconnect? Like all of the talent, all of the pieces are there, in my opinion. I just don't see what is really holding this team back. I don't know if Ray Lewis, like I don't know if this is the ghost of the body Ray Lewis got that's preventing the Ravens from winning another ring or what it is, but
You only got so much
something
time
has
to
to
call
get
that
right,
man
bro.
a felon on this, bro. You gonna get us shut down. It's the same thing with like Marvin Harrison, but there's certain things you can't. There's certain things that are not to be spoken of, and you continue to bring this up. I'm just pointing this out. If we go black one day, those thoughts are the thoughts of Nicholas Hayes only. They do not represent Josh Crawford, T.J. Bush, Xavier Lawson, any other.
Don't get me started talking about them quarterbacks, because then I'm gonna be right there with Nick. I'm gonna be.
But I mean, but think about it, bro. Since ever since we started growing up watching football, what has been the Ravens brand of football, bro?
For sure. For sure.
Defense and running the ball.
And where the hell is that now?
And last night, I could argue last night they didn't either. Outside of that one Derrick Henry run, which was about 30 yards, 25, 30 yards on that first drive. Because, look, what I have never seen last night was the way Lamar was getting bottled up in the run game. Like, he has never been shoestring tackled so much in his life. He should have had 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. It's like some of these teams, like, I give respect to the Lions because they sold out in a way that you don't see. Like, some teams like, that's just Lamar. That's just what he does. We'll let him have it. The way that they was diving on the ground like it was the fucking Super Bowl winning drive. They was diving for his legs, pulling his shoes off and shit. Like, fuck this. You're not going to beat us, diving at his legs and ankles. any other Monday night game, whoever that defense was would have just let him shit all over them and be like, all right, it's Lamar, it's what he does. But like they were not going outside last night. And it's like the Ravens don't know how to respond when the team is not. I'll put it like this: when the team is not going, they don't know what to do. Josh Allen them was not going at home. They was like, all right, fuck this, we ain't going. The Lions was not going last night. And it's like, as silly as it sounds, the Ravens do not know what to do when a team says, we ain't going. And the Lions was like, fuck it, they let David Montgomery old ass, we're talking about the ump race. He was doing whatever the fuck he wanted, bro. They pulled this nigga out the closet on drives like a circus animal to run in the fucking end zone when he need 2 or 3 yards. He was running up and down the fucking field. Like he was back in Chicago. They just do what they wanted. And like when the team is like, we not going, this is what we're gonna do, the Ravens are like, damn man, I wish we could do that. But they can, they just don't.
It's like crazy. We're talking all this. 2 of the 3 of us got on purple for this show. But I digress. You talk about the disconnects, Nick, and I think I got two things that I got to toss up. A, it's not to be overlooked that Mike McDonald is no longer the defensive coordinator there. You got a guy, Zach Orr, above average player. We all know that player to coaching pipeline is not a one-to-one thing. Right. A lot of people, like I said, just scrolling Ravens Twitter, a lot of people have not been excited about kind of the usage and the scheme that they run or just kind of the overall defensive performance. But leading to that, there's a lot of theoretical stuff on this Ravens roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, the jerseys are cool. They got they're Black America's unofficial team. But we're looking up and down the roster, Adofe / Jason Owe. Shout out to my boy TJ for that. We've been Mr. 4.39 in the combine. We've been waiting on him to become a true pass rusher since he got drafted. Malachi Starks, a guy that I really liked at Georgia. I think some of his lack of coverage skills had kind of really been exposed. I think he needs to be more so a Kyle Hamilton guy in the box, but they're deploying a lot of too high looks.
You said lack of coverage skills and said the wrong name.
I mean, brother, he's not the only one. It's so crazy because the Jets signed last year Brandon Stevens from the Ravens. Sucks. But I digress. So Mike Green, guy that was the leading sack master in FBS last year, 45 PFF grades so far, 3 pressures through 3 full games. I think it starts there in terms of what is the pillar of a great defense, a pass rush. Why has Green Bay elevated, we'll talk about it later, to an NFC contender? Because they're potentially covering up one of their biggest weaknesses now, which is the secondary. So I think, you're talking about some of, like I said, some of the disconnect. You're going to get a significant drop off when you have a long embedded guy like Mike McDaniel that's no longer there. And just some of the talent, whether that's been drafted or, again, just look good because they're in that black and purple. It looks damn good. It's been theoretical for too long. Now we know they got some guys out. Justin / Mnande Mbakwe. Again, shout out to my boy TJ. Once he gets back healthy, that'll be a big help in terms of at least some interior pass rush. We know how some of those smaller defensive tackles, they're not super stout at the point of attack. And a guy that's 6'1", 290, he wouldn't give it's not like you got a 330-pounder in there, of Vita Vea. So him by himself is not going to necessarily just completely upgrade your run defense. Travis Jones, a guy that they were pretty high on UConn coming out. He hasn't been the guy that necessarily anchored your defense, anchored the inside of your defense. I would say, honestly, Kyle Hamilton did draft him. He's a vet at this point. I would say the only true young guy on their defense that I would say has probably met expectations is Nate Wiggins. Outside of that, you got a lot of guys, like the guys that I mentioned, Kyle Van Noy and Roquan Smith shouldn't be 2 pillars of your defense in 2025. But they are for the Ravens. And I think that says a lot about some of the lack of panning out of some of the young talent, but also, again, maybe the deployment of some of the guys and some of the lack of credit usage for this personnel with Zach Orr versus Mike McDaniel. Because, again, they got way less talent in Seattle. Tyreek Woolen is stealing money currently, and we still see how Seattle is getting out to 2-1 starting. Like some of the trap coverages that Mike McDaniel run, they're getting more bang for their buck with less talent in Seattle. So I think I think those are my 2 things to the drop off that you get from an experienced DC to a new DC, and just again some of the personnel not panning out like exactly like you thought it would, at least immediately.
Yeah. And I think, I think again back to that 2024 season, last season, over those first two games, they had some issues, the Ravens did on the defensive side of the ball, but they were on the coverage end. And through the season, they got those worked out by moving Kyle Hamilton around and things like that. But for this Ravens team, I don't think the solution to their defensive problems is as easy as it was last year. Thus, meaning I don't think the solution is as easy as it was. This is a team that gave up 224 rush yards last night. And I think when you talk about personnel, obviously not having Madubuike in there hurts, but also losing Michael Pierce this offseason to retirement is a very big piece that I don't think the Ravens have recovered from. Just having that big interior nose tackle to be that run deterrent. So obviously for the Ravens, things haven't gotten off to the best start so far. But looking at the Lions, looking across the field at the Lions, this is a team that a lot of people had written off as dead in the water after the way they started week one versus the Packers. Now, after two straight wins in which they've scored 90 points in the last 2 weeks, how do y'all feel about the Lions now?
I think that the brain drain that everybody talked about week one, greatly overblown. Hell, that was one of the sexy plays I've seen in the Lions era with the outside zone. I don't know what would we call it, the outside zone option play.
Saints did
Does
Hey,
it
I
Amon
first.
loved
Ra
it.
get a passing
Saints did
TD
it
for that?
first.
You said what?
Tom Payton did it first. I'm sorry, I didn't
We,
mean to
we don't
interrupt.
get we don't give a fuck about that Taysom Hill shit, bro.
Oh God, you 30 as a rookie in the NFL again. But also, you know, again, we as much as we love the pin, especially at the professional level in terms of scheming the person and like schematics and all that, you gotta have the Jimmys and the Joes. Nobody could predict how Ed Hutchinson was going to come back after that season ending injury last year, and he looks to be back. The secondary needed help. They went and got DJ Reed. Terry Arnold still sucks, but Brian Branch is a versatile piece, outlining that Kyle Hamilton mode with I think a little bit more coverage ability. So they're kind of patchworking it there. But as I just said, a pass rush or really a dynamic pass rusher, that's the equivalent of the 3-point shot in basketball. It's a cure all. And if you have a guy at Hutchinson, they had 7 sacks last night. He had 2. Um, he looks to be the guy that had 13, 14 for them there in 2023. If he is truly back into form, I'll just say this: the Jets defense has been bad with Eric Glenn as the head man. So maybe he wasn't that damn good, to be honest. So I just think that, we're in the media business. We're going to overreact. But I think it was overblown slightly. How we felt about them in week one against a team that we now think is a Super Bowl contender, honestly. And yeah, between the offensive output, almost 50 on that boy Ben, and then the defensive output against a really good Ravens team that we just spent a chicken dogging, I think that they've shown 3 weeks into the season that they can compete against playoff teams on both sides of the ball. So I think of course there's going to be a drop off in execution of the schematics, but it's not a situation where, like I said, the news of the demise was greatly exaggerated.
No. And I think when you talk about this Lions team, I think it's time to have a very uncomfortable conversation about just some of the rankings in this league because when you think about the top three receivers, you hear the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons, the CeeDee Lambs. But I think there's a chance that Amon Ra might be entering that top three, top five receiver in the league category. Especially you look at what he's done to start this season, 3 touchdowns versus Chicago. This is a guy that's the definition of consistency in the league. And year in, year out, he's making things happen with this Lions offense. Like I said, Amon Ra is entering that top three category. And this Lions offense alone, I think, is what makes them a contender. You just look at all the pieces they have with a quarterback like Jared Goff, who is more in that point guard role and able to distribute it to all the weapons he has at his disposal, the Sam Laportas, like I said, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, who they just extended. And as you alluded to earlier, they have a two-headed monster in the backfield with Jahmyr Gibbs. And then from time to time, they dust off David Montgomery like an old Chevy and just throw him out on the road. And it's never turned out bad, man. It's never turned out bad. So TJ, how you feeling about this Lions team right now, man?
I have been very vocal in I wouldn't say disdain, my question. I just want to say I'm not quite ready to dig them up yet. I know I was burying. I'm not ready to dig them up yet, just because I'm looking at this schedule. Well, this
Okay.
schedule, and I will say, kind of in all seriousness, like the same issue that I had with the Ravens as it pertains to a legitimate run. I have the same questions with them because we have now seen two spoon-fed silver plate runs, and they butchered both of them. 1 seed, 2 seed. Okay, so 2023, they were the 2 seed. They beat Tampa Bay, and then they beat. Goddamn, I'm
Green
about to
Bay, I
blank.
believe. Green Bay, I believe.
Yeah. They beat Green Bay. It was a nasty game. They beat Green Bay,
Yeah.
and then they go and they beat. But did they play
No,
at Green Bay?
they beat Green Bay and then they lost to 49ers, if I remember right.
Okay,
2023.
so they might not even been the 2 seed because that game was in Green Bay, was it not?
That I can't tell you. I know they
Okay,
played Tampa
so
Bay in
yeah,
Tampa.
whatever they. So they lost to. Yeah, you know why? Because they were on the road, so they couldn't have been the 1 seed. They lost. They had a double digit. They were what, 28-7, 28-14, up 21-14 up on
Yeah.
the 49ers. They blew the piss out of that. Okay, come back next year. Most dominant, one of the most dominant seasons you'll ever see. Like, they were so dominant that they had the second place team in the division was a wild card with 13, 14 wins. You got
Oh
two
God.
13-win teams duking it out for a wild card spot. That was the craziest shit you'll ever see. And they get hit over the head by a rookie quarterback. And it wasn't even close. They got blown out. I know the score won't say that, but they got dominated from start to finish. They got absolutely blown out. In all fairness, like, fair is fair. Like, I had the same question about the Ravens. We have now seen, okay, we've called the Lions fair weather. Okay, so be it. But they've had two golden opportunities. I find it hard to see, not impossible, but hard to see a path where it won't get any easier in the playoffs. There probably won't be the 1 seed. We're probably looking at 3, maybe 4. Probably won't need that wild card spot, but you never know. But the schedule is a monster. The schedule is an absolute beast. You got Cleveland, that's a win. Okay, Cincinnati, we get that a win. Okay,
That's a dub. Yeah.
we'll say win. You're going to Arrowhead. I don't love that. The Chiefs will probably be back on par by then. I think that's an L. Tampa Bay comes to town. That's a good one. That's a Monday night game. It's a good game. Minnesota, JJ will probably be back. I'll give them that one. At the Commanders, Jaden Daniels will be back healthy. Ooh. Oh, okay.
I mean, but
Philly,
we
that's
just
an
saw what
L.
they did to Lamar though.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And the Commanders' offense is very concerning, but they might be hopped up for that game. Eagles, that's an L. Any problems with that one? Well, you never know, but I think that's an L. Okay, Giants, that's a dub. Green Bay comes to town, that's probably an L. Dallas, that's a Thursday night game. That's been they played 3 years in a row. That's always been a good game. I don't know. That might be. I don't want to call it a trap game because Dallas is not ass, but okay. At the Rams, ooh, that's a good one.
That's a
That's a good one.
loss. They just played.
That's
They
week
just
15, and that we might be like talking about like that game is gonna have
Seeding
playoff.
implications. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Pittsburgh, they are not a hole. I know that the defense is concerning in that older court, but the Steelers have not been a hole this year. At Minnesota and then at Chicago. So if they do what we think that we would agree that they would do, we're looking at 10-7. 10-7.
Yeah, around there.
Worst case 9-8, best case 11-6. Now, if they get the crucial division games and the Green Bay spots them a few, it might help them. They might win the division. So I think that Green Bay game in Week 13 will be huge because I'm not ready to crown Green Bay because they just absolutely bullshitted last week. But the 2 weeks before that were pretty dominant, so it's hard to say what they will do. I'm not ready to dig the Lions up, but I'm not ready to close the casket either. Just ask me after week 7, we'll talk about it again because Chiefs and Buccaneers will be 2 big games.
Yeah.
And that'll be the halfway-ish point of the season. So I'm not ready to close, but I'm not ready to dig them up yet. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, so but talking about that, the fact that you're not ready to dig them up, what's your biggest point of concern for this Lions team as they move through the rest of their schedule?
I'm concerned with the gruelingness of this game, like these games. Like these are not going to be games where they're going to be, we know that they want to run the football and they want to be physical, but these are not games where they're going to be able to pick their poison. Like Tampa Bay can do a little bit of everything. The Eagles, if they open it up, they can do a little bit. Like that's going to be physical. We just saw them have a 10-minute drive. Like this is a team that struggled with injuries. They struggle with consistency in some of these big spots. Like it's not like they're not trustworthy, but it's the same thing with the Ravens. Like when we talk about a run, like I don't want to get excited for a team to win 13 regular season games and then in the playoffs because they've done it twice. I know it's crazy, but like the Ravens do it too. Like I don't want to just feel like I'm picking on one team. Like I don't want to say, but I don't like when teams do that. Like show us who you are and state what you're going to be. Like Kansas City is one thing I will say that I respect about them. They are true to who they are. They will squeak out a game in week 3 versus the Giants, and they will squeak out the damn Super Bowl. They will not win 12 games and then shit themselves and be like, damn, are they the real? Like they will get in a dogfight with the Saints for all we know. But then same thing in the playoffs. They'll find a way to win these games in ugly fashion. The Ravens and the Lions, no matter how good they have not shown me that they can win these gritty games. And they have a lot of these playoff type games. Last year, the Lions were just abusing teams every week. I just don't see that. If that's how they want to win, like, okay, you got the dome field advantage and they're just abusing teams every week and they've got this mastermind OC. That old ass geezer in the booth was in his bag last night, but if they can't hit teams over the head, square peg round hole, what are they gonna do? Because I don't not trust Jared Goff, but Jared Goff will get that bitch up to you if you ask for it nicely. We've seen him go out there and give up 5 picks in a game.
Still won that
What
game,
can
by the
you
way.
do that? Which is crazy, CJ Stroud. But it's crazy to say, like, I don't trust this team that is so dependent on coordinators, and you don't have a mobile quarterback. The coordinators keep coming and going, and you're not trustworthy in big games. Those 3 things to me. You look at the teams that we trust to do it. Mobile quarterbacks are not the bus. The bus driver. I don't think Jared Goff is driving the bus. He's not holding the bus back. He's not putting that bitch on flats like some of these quarterbacks. But he's not driving the bus. The coordinator, we don't know. He's not that proven, and we don't trust him in big games. I don't trust him in big games. I just have a feeling that they're going to win some of these games, and they're going to be 10-6, 11-6. I'm sorry, 10-7, 11-6, and then they're going to week 1 of the playoffs. They're going to get Tampa Bay, or they're going to get the Eagles, and then we're like, oh shit, here we go again. And they're going to get boat race, and we're going to be like, damn, well, he wasn't hating. I am kind of hating, but I'm not hating without a reason. If I'm a hater, I'm gonna have a reason. I don't know. I gotta see it to believe it. I gotta see it. Yeah, like I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like I'm gonna hate on everybody, but I'm like Charles White, bro. I hate everybody. I'm gonna tell you why I hate you, and I'm gonna stand on it. Just in that way, though. That's the only way you can compare me to Charles.
In the light of this political climate, that's a hell of a comp. I think TJ done enough hate. I think that I'm definitely more optimistic on the Lions. I feel like honestly they answered a lot of questions for me in their Baltimore game in terms of specifically the interior O-line. How do you replace Frey Ragnar? How do your 2 rookie guards kind of respond? Tay Radlich, Christian Mahogany. We talked about how we don't think the Ravens interior is that good, but still a playoff team. So being able to consistently create movement for Montgomery, like you said, because he's not an explosive back at this point, that provided some upside for me. That all the bells and whistles that Ben Johnson had, the foundational principle of this Lions team, especially the offensive identity, is to run the ball. That sets up the play action for Jared Goff. That creates the windows downfield. You have J-Mo running all your streaks and all that, humping the end zone. It sets up all the little option routes and all that for Myron underneath. So yeah, the fact that they were able to run the ball so well, that answer questions for me. Concern wise, DJ Reed was a really good cornerback too to Sauce Gardner while he was in New York. Him as your number one, maybe a little concerned. I mean, maybe not even necessarily DJ Reed is your number one. I think he'd be a mid-tier number one. You said it last night, TJ. Terrion Arnold is not good. You might as well have Cam Sutton back out there.
Him and Kool-Aid. They both their asses.
So I think for me, and questions were answered for me. And I would just say, again, I'm not blockading your hate, TJ, but just taking a step back, like this is still the Lions. But before 2023, we got to think about the expectations we have for this team, just the identity of this team in general. So, I mean, I know we're in the microwave.
I give them, they earned it.
I mean, I know that we're in a microwave society. Honestly, we kind of evaluate these things season by season. But even in 2025, I don't necessarily think that, I'm not a Lions fan, I guess. But I don't think that there should be any disappointment in getting to the playoffs with double-digit wins and maybe getting a one and done in the playoffs. Winning one game as a Lions fan after what y'all been through, this putridness in this decade, I wouldn't look down upon that. Now, obviously, expectations and all that.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
But like I said, for me, I came away last night with a few more questions answered, and I think the questions that I still have probably won't be answered until, like I said, week 17 of playoff time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously we're talking about this Lions team and where they stand now, but as I alluded to earlier, if we go back to week 1, everybody was writing Lions finished, Lions done, window closed, and that was because they went up against an absolute unit of a team in the Packers who recently acquired Micah Parsons. And fellas, we haven't been on since that big trade went down. So tell me, what does Micah Parsons do for the Packers? And does Michael Parsons make the Packers the best team in the NFC?
I would say clearly it makes them the best roster, not the best team. You look at that 11 on 11. If you look at that first 22-11 on defense, 11 on offense, the only place I feel like they don't really match up is at receiver. And that offense, it looks like, Tyler Kraft going down, not great, but they had what is that? White, Drake Kirkpatrick, John Fitzpatrick, whatever the tight end name was they had out there. He looked to be a suitable replacement. And the way
Kraft got hurt?
Yeah, I'm not done, but he's out. I think for at least a couple weeks. And the way that Jordan Love really spreads the ball around, trust me, I've had enough Packers receivers in fantasy to know this. Just that system in general, you're not going to get LaFleur. We know the lack of investment they've had in top end talent, anyways. But what's the last LaFleur receiver that we really know? Somebody tell me, because there hasn't been a super dominant one in a.
You got Devontae his first year.
Yeah.
Okay, but and
then he had some players.
And that was also not. That's a guy that, because Devontae got drafted in what, the 4th round, 5th round. That's a guy that does pure. But they have never, I guess I would say, prioritized number one receiver routes in the way that other teams do in terms of like, hey, let's just isolate a guy on this side, let him go win. They've always kind of been this mesh trips, kind of like let's scheme my guys open type situation. At least what I've seen. But no, I just think that the one big thing that we talked about them with this, like, it's never great when your best defensive back is a safety. That means your corner really can't cover. So looking at what Michael Parsons does for this team alleviates. You got the best pass rusher in the game up front. That boosts your pass rate up. That makes Rashawn Gary the best opposite edge in the field. But it covers up, or significantly, it covers up one of your biggest, probably your biggest weakness, which is, man, your cornerbacks. Again, we saw, like you said, Nick, we saw what they did to a team in week 1 that caused us to kind of write off the lines, and now we see that they're a quality team still. And I think that the formula they have is replicable. They have a guy that they can kind of. There's not one guy that if you take away one receiver that they necessarily the offense is shut down, a la Dallas and CD, because George Pickens, he loves to draw PIs, but he still likes to drop balls too. They can consistently run the ball, and we see. I feel like this is about Detroit a little bit, even though explosive they are. some teams, some of these better, some of these perennial contenders, they're not great playing from behind. I guess nobody really is. But with the way Jordan Love loves to take shots downfield, even if the team gets behind, there's not a lot. There's not desperation. He can go get you a strike at any moment. Micah Parsons and Rashawn, they can go get you the ball back via turnover. David McKinney can go get you the ball back. So I just think that not only the foundation, the bricks this team lays in terms of being able to run the ball and having like a kind of a diverse offensive system, it lends itself to, you know, consistency week to week, but also they have that high ceiling potential to where, you know, if things get icky in a playoff game or a play divisional game, you know, I don't bury them if they're down 7 or even 14.
I will say, like, looking at this Packers team, and obviously the addition of Michael Parsons at face value makes this undoubtedly, like you said, Josh, one of the most talented rosters in the NFL. But for me, when I look at this Packers team, I can't put you as the top dog until you beat the top dog. And the top dog in the NFC has been the Eagles and continues to be the Eagles. And when you look at how these two teams are constructed, both the Packers and the Eagles, more so the Eagles from last year, you see a lot of similarities in the way they've constructed these teams, in the sense of quarterbacks that are mobile, a deep and varied receiver room. You look at the Eagles with their room of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and a constant rotating of failed threes from guys to Jalen Reagor to Jahan Dotson and
That wasn't
John
nice.
Mechie. Just a rotating group of threes, but you extrapolate that and you look at the Packers, and obviously you don't have that star one, like you said, Josh, but you have so many tools in the tool set that you can get the job done with a guy like Tucker Krafts, a rookie in Matthew Golden, consistent guys like Romeo Dobbs, Wicks, Jaden Reed, who's out with a broken collarbone, but. And then you continue looking on the offense side of the ball, starting with the run game. LaFleur made his bread and butter in Tennessee with the run game, with Derrick Henry. Now you give him a guy like Josh Jacobs, and you look at the Eagles, same thing, foundationally built on the run game, being tough uh, on the offensive side of the ball, and then defensively, pass rush, pass rush, pass rush. That's how the Eagles won their Super Bowl last year, and that's the formula the Packers are trying to replicate this year with Michael Parsons. You go back to that first game versus the Lions. Obviously, we had questions about that interior offensive line losing Ragnow and losing the coordinators. Just questions about the offense as a whole coming into the year. And the Packers came in and shut that shit down. Jared Goff didn't know what he Jared Goff looked like he didn't know what he was doing. The offense looked disjointed. There were questions about John Morton. And let me remind you, this is a Lions offense that scored 90 points over the past 2 weeks. But the Packers only held them to 13 points for a game. An offense that scored 90 over the past 2 weeks scored 13 week one. So I think the Packers are legit and on the right track. But I think they'll have to prove it over the course of the season, which, of course, that's how it works in football. This is a meritocracy. But until the Eagles significantly fall off, I can't name the Packers the best team in the NFC quite yet.
Oh, for sure. That's why I made that clear distinction. Best roster, I would take that roster. If it was a bad franchise, I would take that roster 10 out of 10 times just because, again, the natural hate for the Eagles for me was just starting to develop almost Patriot level because they have a cheap play. First of all, they're really cheap
Facts.
on one of their main
Facts.
plays. It just doesn't look sexy. I'm sorry, that's not a very deep third level analytical take. It is not fun to watch the Eagles play football. I was actively rooting for the Rams in that game because, oh my God, Puka, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams, like,
Actual offensive football.
man, we don't have to get into 3rd and 2, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna cheat. I'm sorry, bro. They need to ban that, bro. They need to ban that. I mean, if you want to pick player safety, if we actually care about that, because that is, I mean, I would think creating a goal line situation at the middle of at any point in the game, not great. There's clearly false starting on the offensive line. And the NFL is a cash cow. They're going to get tired of people complaining about the aesthetic of that play. They need to ban it, but that's just the other side. But I do agree with what you said. You don't play football games on paper. Until they can prove that they can go into to Philadelphia and go head up, play knuckles for knuckles with the Eagles. Well, I would say the team that gave Philly the best run in the playoffs last year, the Rams, you can't name them. You can't make the best team in the NFC. Do I doubt they could give both of those teams a good run? No. We just saw the Rams with a team that talk about pass rush. They got some really good pass rush in Verse and Byron Young. They went in different ways than Mike and Rashawn Gary. They're more speed based, where Rashawn and Mike are power based. But I like the ceiling on the Rams a little bit more. I mean, I like the ceiling on the Packers a little bit more than the Rams. Like I said,
Really?
I think if we looked at paper starting your franchise, I would take the Packers going forward versus the Eagles. But yeah, we don't play the games on papers. Again, the Eagles have a play where they can cheat, and there is a thing such as playoff experience, being there before, knowing the moment, and being able to pull out a game, and that experience, that intangible quantity that Philly and LA has, Green Bay doesn't have yet. So, like you said, there's a lot more projection that goes into basketball to football, and until we see it, we can't. Like I said, it's best roster in the NFC, probably the third best team.
Mm. TJ, you co-signing that third best team in the
Um,
NFC, or how you
I
how you
think
see it?
I think it's interesting what y'all were saying. When I think about the Eagles would have never lost that game the way that the Packers did Sunday. It just shows me that they were not ready to be crowned yet. It's not like they didn't earn it, but they also didn't they don't know what to do with that type of power. We just saw them have two dominant first two games. Like, what have we done in the past? We've seen we've seen teams dominate the first 2 weeks, and they didn't just dominate they put up a bunch of points. Like, those games they weren't blowing teams out. They were just imposing their will. So we look at them like, okay, they can run all over you and they can stop the run. They can rush the pass, or they can get to the quarterback, like all that. This is a team that is complete, playing on both sides of the ball, moving the ball offensively. The way that they collapse in that game, they struggle to. We don't think of the Browns as anything positive to come out of that organization, and that's coming from my team and the Browns got the same record, but at least, I'm over here saying at least I ain't a Browns fan. And Josh, you can identify with that too. We're all at least we don't root for the Browns. No matter how bad our team's playing, that's a team that's considered the bottom feeder of the bottom feeders. Historically, whatever you want to say, that interception from Jordan Love, that is what concerns me about that team to an extent, because it seems like time and time again, if it comes down, he's done this on the CBS primetime games. He did it in the playoff game against the 49ers. When it comes down to, I just have to do my job. I don't have to throw for 350 and throw it all over the yard. I just have to do my job. Or better yet, I just have to not give it up. He's like, well, that wouldn't be any fun now. That interception was terrible. To Mr. Whoop-de-doo, that shit was awful. Go right to him. He's like, oh, he's doing the ball, whoop-de-doo. That wasn't even close. Whoever he was throwing to wasn't looking, and it wasn't even close. The first thing that popped into my mind was, and no glazing shit, the Eagles would have never. Jalen Hurts would have probably tried to run into the back of somebody before he did that silly ass shit. They probably would have blown that team out straight up. And we saw what the Eagles did against the class of who we consider to be the class of the NFC, the Rams.
Yeah.
They were getting hit from the back by the Rams the whole game. I'm looking at I'm like, damn, 26-7. They and Kyra Williams in there, they doing show tune celebrations in the end zone. They having a blast in your house. Okay, what has been a knock on them? They haven't been able to move the ball. They want to cheat with the tush push, and Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown a pass past 20 yards. And it just this is, you wouldn't think that the Eagles were winless the way that they're being clowned, but they were undefeated. They haven't lost. They've won 16 straight games with Jalen Hurts start to finish. This is a team that has been dominating the league, tush push or not. The Packers just haven't put that together, and then we see what the quarterback does when it counts. And on the flip side, we saw what the Eagles were able to do. They came back, they put the ball in one of their best players' hands, not the best player, but the engine of the team, the quarterback, and they said, okay, go win us this game. He drove down the field a couple times, took care of the ball, slung it everywhere, and they got the ball to A.J. Brown. Saquon was able to get complimentary yards when it was needed. Smitty, Goddard, it was a team effort. I feel like the Packers have not been able to reach down in their bag of tricks when they have needed to, the way that the Eagles have done. It's if the Packers can't do it how they want to do it, they are a very fair weather winning team. When they blew out Dallas in the playoffs, they were like, all right, well, shit, where'd that come from? And then in the next week, they're like a different team. versus San Francisco. I just don't trust them all the way. Third best team. I mean, are they better than the? I'm sorry. Are they better than the Buccaneers? Because the Buccaneers have shown us that they can. I hate the Bucks, but they've shown us that they can win them dirty games. They just went. They just went all the way down to the H time, and they came back and won that game.
I'm gonna let you keep going. I would just say the difference in quality divisional opponents is a big key there. The Bucks get to beat up on the division, and it's a war to the NFC North. I will say that.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. I get that the NFC South is ass on paper, but like being like the rivalry games hit different. We just seen what Carolina. I know that the division teams are ass, but Carolina is one of the worst teams that we've seen in the last in all the 2020s, and they just blanked the Falcons. The Falcons probably haven't been shut out in 10 years, probably. And they got their ass kicked by Bryce Young. So I get that it's a sloppy product. But I'm willing to bet, I'm willing to say like that's probably one of the most competitive divisions, ass or not. It's the same with the AFC North. The AFC North, 3 out of the 4 teams are usually ass, but they're competitive.
They're gonna beat up it, yeah.
Like it's competitively ass. Like you will look at like Tampa Bay has been running the NFC South for the last 3-4 years, but like we've given them hell when they had Tom Brady. Like the NFC South beat up each other like no other division. That's what I'm trying to say. Like it might look like some bullshit, but those games are not any slouch. Like we just seen Atlanta, who's 10 times more talented than Carolina, get the brakes beat off them. Like that's what like it's like the SEC of divisions of the NFL. I don't know if that makes sense, but like it just competitively assly competitive. I don't know which one. But what were you go back to what you were saying?
I would just say, I mean, outside of that point, I think for me, you talk about like building up this reservoir of like playoff experience or team identity, all that. You know, we're jumping back a couple of seasons now, but I think we all remember still how much of the identifier that Philly team looked at the end of 2023. I got to put up here. You take the embarrassing loss to a wild card Tampa Bay team. They had 2 losses to close out the year versus the Cardinals and the Giants. People were calling for Sirianni's head after that, at the end of 2023. So I would just say that, I mean, it's all relative, but giving Green Bay, acknowledging where Green Bay is at, and I guess in their the formulation of the team identity versus where Philly's at now, is not a 1-to-1. And I would just say personally, the ceiling, better defense, more wholesome defense for Philly. I do think the ceiling in terms of the system that LaFleur runs, at the very least, if it's not higher, is more exciting. So I think that we got to identify that, yes, the Philly is flying high right now. You know, Jalen Hurts is all over Abbott. Everybody loves him. But it wasn't like that even 15 months ago. They weren't this purely dominant product. And I think that at this stage, if you comparing the stage that Philly was at in 2023 in terms of building that identity and where Green Bay is at in terms of kind of skipping some steps in terms of the acquisition of Micah, I like the stage. I like Green Bay at the stage they're at now and kind of that developmental contender stage and what Philly looked like when they were trying to ascend.
Yeah, and I think as we're kind of talking about this Packers team, I think the one thing that holds them back is, especially this year, is just their willingness to play in the margins, especially with a quarterback like Jordan Love, who has a penchant for those silly turnovers and ill-timed plays. You think about the Packers this season, and for all the praising we're doing of their defense, this is a team that hasn't scored more than 27 points so far this season. And not to say the offense is anemic, but when you think about a LaFleur style offense, methodical drives, handing the ball to Josh Jacobs, you have to be efficient on all of those drives and capitalize in order to come out and win some of these tough, tight games, as TJ alluded to. And that's one of the reasons why I think we are all echoing the fact that the Eagles remain atop the NFC because of their ability to win these gritty games in a variety of different ways. Like this is a team that, like TJ said, was down multiple scores, came back to put up 33 points to win a game that honestly they shouldn't have won. But
Unanswered point, 26 unanswered.
Exactly. And so, but one thing I want to go back to, TJ, is, we asked the question, or we posed the question of, are the Packers the third best team in the NFC? And I think me and Josh were thinking in a ranking of Eagles, Rams, Packers, but you brought in the Bucks.
Do you think the Buccaneers can have a better record based on the division they play in and their opponents, or do
Okay.
you think that the Bucks are? Do you think if they played each other, Tampa Bay would win? I think those are two different questions.
Okay, so if I understand what you're saying, I think that Tampa Bay will come out with a cleaner finished product because even if the division games are difficult, they might not lose one of them. They might go like Green Bay is gonna drop a division game. If they play each other, well, it goes back to what I've been saying this whole show, clamoring about like who can I trust? Like, what have you shown me? And Tampa Bay just keeps Baker just keeps showing us, as much as it pains me to admit this, because I don't like him and I don't like Tampa Bay, and the combination of them makes me want to throw up. But like they just keep showing us that they're going to get it done. When they went to the playoffs and they beat the brakes off the Eagles, people don't realize that in the next game they damn near beat the Lions. So they
For
were
real.
a few plays away from going to that NFC Championship game against the 49ers. So like what's crazy about Baker is like the knock on Baker was that he had all these different coordinators. People don't realize that the Bucks are on their third offensive coordinator in 3 years because the other two were so productive that they got head coaching jobs.
Swiped.
So we went from like Baker having multiple OCs as a negative thing to he's getting these coaches jobs, and they just keep with this style of play. They've got Bucky, they've got all these receivers. I was the first one to say like the Emeka Buka pick had me scratching my head, but I think it was Nick that was like that was a great pick. Like that was a home run pick. I think that they have seen that the writing on the wall. Mike Evans is going to be out for the next 5 weeks. Don't be surprised if Mike Evans doesn't play another snap this season. He's pushing 35, 40, however years old, hamstring injury, can't stay on the field. He's not very productive otherwise. He might not play again the rest of this season. Chris Godwin is still working his way back. Jalen McMillan was a steal too. Like they just keep making great front office decisions, great contracts, great coaching. It's just like they have it figured out. I don't know if it was the Tom Brady effect. I don't know if it was because Bruce Arians moved upstairs. Like they just have competence and it reflects on the field. I hate fucking Tampa Bay with everything in me. So this is not even glazing. I don't even want to say this shit, but like Baker has shown me that he will. We just saw what he did on Monday night. He
Yep.
dropped his nuts. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go at you. We're gonna win this game. Like Jordan Love in that situation has been in that situation. He's given the ball up to the other team. Like I don't know if it was weird for me to throw them in there, but like now that I'm saying it, I just feel like I trust them and they have been there and won more. And the guy that is propelling them, plus the franchise of competence, is like rubbing off on the team. Like, okay, we can go pull one out. Green Bay's like, oh, they don't like, I can't watch. Please don't throw it away, Jordan Love. And then, Tampa Bay's like, Baker, you got this. Like they turning him up, they hyping him up. He's swaggy, just like they have a different swag to them, and it just makes me trust them because they've done it.
Nah, I
The
feel you though. I feel you though. But like, like I said, I just think it's interesting that, me and Josh were thinking in
right,
terms of top teams in the NFC, Eagles, Rams, and then you come with the Bucks. But I think
right,
honestly, they've earned their place among the top teams in the
right,
NFC. Like you said, they've dominated the NFC South,
right.
2 or 3 consecutive playoff appearances.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield throwing for over 4,000 yards in back-to-back seasons. Like this is a team with a quarterback that has all the tools necessary to be competitive. But as we look through this, man, like what the hell happened in the NFC and just why are all these teams hooping now, bro? It's
right.
like in an NBA comparison, bro, it's like the NFC, the West, and the AFC is like the new East, bro. Like the hell going on, bro?
I mean, that was a perfect comparison. You got the Western Conference, you got the Eastern Conference, and in the East, I mean, it's a different level of dominance. Um, I was because Giannis is not at Mahomes. It's like back in the East where you had LeBron over there. It's like, well, that's kind of accounted for.
Right.
The Raptors, yeah, y'all gonna win 50 games. Big booty Kyle Lowry, DeMar, y'all gonna be whatever we do. But we know what's gonna happen.
Past that. That's the club.
We know what's gonna be, and I think that it's been like that for so long. Even with as talented as Lamar and Josh Allen are, there hasn't been that really development of that second tier of contenders. And once you see a fall off in terms of they look bad. The fall off that's been apparent probably since last year, honestly, with Kansas City, there's not that embedded next up, I guess I would say, because we just spent this whole first segment talking about how concerned we are about Baltimore. And even with Buffalo, they've been in the same division for how many years now? And Joe Burrow's still the only quarterback to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoff game. So there's still that invincibility force field. I just think that the wide openness, I guess, of the NFC has created more teams. Like, I don't think Green Bay makes this move in the AFC. I don't because of, like I said, just that, that invincibility force field that Kansas City has held. So I like your comparison in terms of like the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference. And I just think that, again, because of what Nick Wright calls it, the Mahomes Invitational, it feels like more teams in the NFC feel like they have a chance to compete. And that's kind of created this, I guess, not risk averse, more high level moves, more potential moves for NFC teams because they feel like the window is open.
Yeah. And so I kind of want to let's take a second to actually talk about the Bills because we haven't done that yet. And obviously, kind of sticking with this NBA comparison, Josh Allen to this point in his career has been DeMar DeRozan to Patrick Mahomes, LeBron. So when you look at this Bills team starting out with a dominant win or starting out with a quality win over the Ravens and continuing that to a current undefeated record, could this be the year for the Bills?
I said it last year when I predicted them to beat them in the quarterfinals or I don't know. I forget how they classify the NFL playoff games in the second round.
Yeah.
If they're gonna beat them, this looks like their best chance to beat them with a weakened Kelsey, with a weakened receiver room, and Josh Allen looks like he's at the peak of his powers. Rinse, wash, repeat. Now, I think that is a significant. The Kansas City looks worse than they did at their worst point last year. We'll say that for the clip if they look disgusting versus Baltimore this week, but he has nobody that can create separation. Nobody over there. So I would say the same thing again. If they're gonna beat them, he needs to do it before Xavier Worthy learns how to lift weights, before Rashid Rice gets his driver license back. Because they're not, they look better than Baltimore in the regular season, or at least Josh Allen doesn't seemingly have that drop off from playoff regular season that Lamar does. But the end result is the same. They both at home, watching Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So I just think that, again, rinse, wash, repeat from what I said last year. Because at a certain point, it's going to become a psychological thing. Cannot beat this guy. What voodoo magic does they have in Arrowhead or Kansas City and Andy Reid have that I can't do it? You're going to almost look back on it like a Barkley Ewing situation. Hall of Famers, but they didn't get a ring because they played in that Jordan era. And, it's going to be what it is. I think that they probably would be, they both younger guys, but if Lamar and Josh Allen don't end up with a Super Bowl, a ring, much less an appearance, they would have to be the most talented quarterbacks we've seen in the league never to get there. And that would be a direct result of Mahomes. So Lamar got his own, the Ravens got their own demons to work out, I think, internally. I think Buffalo looked like a much more all-encompassing team the past 2 seasons. And it would it would be directly related to those demons. And because there's nothing that Buffalo can accomplish. There's nothing that Buffalo can do in the regular season to feel good about. Like, they're going to handle business, essentially. There's nothing that they can prove to us that we don't know about them in the regular season.
Yeah, they've been doing that. Yeah.
Exactly. So, again, I think at this point, that will be 3 straight times, specifically because, again, we know Lamar folds. So that'll be 3 straight times to where they've gotten to that precipice and they got knocked off. And that would be crazy history considering the history of the Bills, considering the 3 times they lost in the Super Bowl back-to-back. And, again, it would just be – it would definitely be – if it's not already, it would definitely become more of a psychological problem than personnel problem.
This thing says 41 total tackles. It can't be right. Okay, 2.5 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and 2 TFLs. Mr. Muhammad! Yeah!
You know what? I want to thank every player, every coach, everybody that's in this organization, because about a year ago, I was home, I was on the couch. So when you get an opportunity, you make sure you take advantage of it. I want to also thank the guys in my room for helping me out this week. You know, without them, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did today.
Win, guys. Love you guys, man. We'll get ready for Cleveland. Break it out.
Hey, great win. 103,
Yeah, so I mean, we've kind of danced around a little bit, talked heavy on the NFC, touched on a few teams in the AFC, but just talking in general now, just what are some of y'all's biggest just winners and losers, through this first 3 weeks of the NFL season, whether that be teams, players, whatever it is, just what are some of the things that have stood out to y'all so far?
I'm buck against the trend because we know, there's only 3 records the teams you have right now: 3-0, 1-2, 2-1. So it's easy to say stock up on a 2-1 team versus stock down on a 1-2 team. Denver.
A couple of threes in there.
Oh yeah, you're right. 0-3. Thank you, TJ. My very symptomatic reasoning. Denver, even at 1-2, I'm really high on them. I think it's a situation where I was not a believer in Bo Nix coming out of college. I wanted to see if he's going to be subject to a sophomore slump, a la CJ Stroud, which his sophomore slump looks to have extended a little bit. But no, this Sean Payton offense that Drew Brees ran all those years in New Orleans, it kind of fits his mold. It's not a lot of sorry, TJ, not a lot of creativity in terms of what you're asking your quarterback to do. It fits the mold of a guy like Bo Nix that's not overly physically gifted. Make quick decisions, stay with the center pocket, kind of operates a point guard for this offense. And he's been able to do that so far. Corey Sutherland looks like a wide receiver 1. He quickly has looked to form a connection with a wide receiver 2 and his former teammate in Troy Franklin. Waiver wire pickup for guys in fantasy if he hasn't been sniped in your league already. And we know that Denver defense at this point, we saw them in their week 1 performance. Yes, it's a Titans, but I think the defense that we've seen them over the last couple of seasons really be smothering. You got a front 7 that really stopped the run, and you got the best – I'm biased. One of the best cornerbacks of the game in PS2. I'm still partial to my guy Sauce. So, yeah, I think that we talked about, I think, offline, the AFC West looked like it's going to be a dogfight. But I don't think that's a team, depending on how things play out, I don't think that's a team that you want to draw as a wild card if you're a division winner in the AFC.
Talking about Sean Payton and this offense, one of the biggest takeaways for me when looking at this Broncos team is this is an offense that has traditionally lacked a tight end since I don't know when, and you go out and you spend money to get Evan Ingram, a guy who's posted 1,000-yard seasons as a tight end, and through 3 games he has 4 receptions for 33 yards. This is a guy that Sean Payton said was going to be his joker, going to be heavily involved in the offense, moved around, but yet the production isn't there. And I think for the Sean Payton quick-hitting offense, you think about some of the tight ends he had down in New Orleans, the Jimmy Grahams, the Taysom Hills, the versatile weapons that a quarterback can get the ball to easy underneath and turn into bigger plays. That's what Evan Ingram is supposed to be for Bo Nix, and he hasn't become that yet. And so this offense has continued to struggle, and I don't think it has lived up to the expectations we had for it coming into the season. But on the flip side of that, a team in this division that has pleasantly surprised me, and specifically a player that has pleasantly surprised me, is Quinn Johnston and his hands, because hands down, no pun intended, him being able to catch the football has transformed this Chargers offense into a unit capable of putting up points with the best of them, and has fueled them to a current 3-0 record, including 2 division wins, one of them being the all-world beating Chiefs.
All I will say is, Nick, that opinion is invalidated because you don't like big body X receivers, so you don't get to claim.
Don't bring this up. This is like this. This was the no cap.
You like the shit. You like the separation guy, so you don't get to claim that dub.
He like Ray Shrimmer, but he don't got no tight. He just like receivers on the.
That's
Come
crazy.
on, bro. That's he like Ray Sherman with the wide out.
Hey, no
Hey,
cap, bro. Hey, a lot of love to my nigga Keenan for coming back and showing folks he ain't watched too, bro. Cause that's a big addition for the Chargers too, bro. I ain't gonna cap.
let's talk
All he
like
does is catch touchdowns.
if we want to deep dive into it a little bit. We definitely getting our shit off on this one. What we think of the identity of a Jim Harbaugh led team. There's a reason why Omarion Hampton was going first, second rounds in a lot of fantasy draft. You're gonna ground and pound. You had two of the best tackles in the league before Rashawn Slater went down. He's a potential Pro Bowl, All Pro guy already. And yet Justin Herbert has had his best season as a Charger so far. So I think that for me, that's been the biggest surprise. I did not think that Justin Herbert was going to have a
Yeah.
significant jump. No, I mean, he looked just more efficient as a passer, but just the amount of volume that they've given him has been surprising for me. So I think that just speaks to we kind of pigeonhole these coaches to a certain extent in terms of like their identities. But hey, Jim Harbaugh's just a damn good coach. We've seen him win with all types of personnel going back to the Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick Niners days.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that in a way that a lot of coaches are not nowadays, he's willing to be a chameleon in terms of the personnel that he has, or not necessarily trying to impose his identity on a given roster. So that's been a pleasant surprise for me. And I don't see how this continues to develop. I don't think Winston Johnson is going to continue his current rates. Omarion Hampton has not been good these first 4 weeks. We'll see if I think with the way that he likes to coach, I think he'll allow him to kind of get in a rhythm with carries, if nothing else, because Najee just went down with an Achilles thing. So I think he'll be better. So it'll be interesting to see, going into a year, you thought this would be like a run-heavy team. They look like a pass-heavy team, and we'll kind of see if that still kind of balances out as the season goes on.
Yeah, for real. I will say, I'll just add to that. I haven't seen Greg Roman call this many passing plays since a playoff game. But for TJ, what have been some of your just biggest takeaways so far through week 3 of the season?
I was kind of thinking about it as y'all were talking about like the AFC West. I know nobody wants to be this guy. Nobody wants to fall on the knife because it usually doesn't end well. But I feel like the clock is ticking on Kansas City just because of some of the things that like their wiggle room is running out because the Chargers have cooperated with themselves. So like if Kansas City was 1-2 and the Chargers were also 1-2, we'd be like, oh well, we know how this movie ends. But like this year is kind of showing me like I know nobody wants to be the guy that say the Chiefs are done, like, but this year has shown me this ain't that movie. Like, I think that this game coming up, the Chiefs Ravens, is that a Monday night game, Sunday night game?
I think it's Sunday night. It's prime time
Okay,
either way.
that game right there, whoever loses that game, I think that's a game. I know they're not like in the division, but that's a game for a playoff spot to me. Because 1-3 Ravens, 1-3 Chiefs. That's going to put the Chiefs in a different hole because you have an injured worthy Rashee Rice won't put down the car keys, and then you have the Chargers are 6-0 and the Chiefs are 2-4. They're done. They're done. That's it for them. You're not coming back because you're going to be looking at a wild card team. They might have to play another division game, and because some of these teams get playoff matchups against a team that's in their division. Those games are always ugly. I don't know, man. They just haven't looked the same. They can't run the ball. Mahomes is the leading rusher. I know they had the injuries, but like, how many times have you seen a team lose a player because somebody ran the wrong route? Usually that just results in like a drop pass, a pick. So you might get your head taken off by the linebacker, but your own player, like that, just was to me was a indication of how the season was going. Like I think they skipped past the Super Bowl hangover and they've been in a Super Bowl coma. Like they didn't even look good. Like they didn't look good Sunday night. Like the only reason they won that game, you got a player. Russell Wilson was throwing the ball into the fucking tunnel. Like I don't think that shit made my jaw drop. Like Cam Scatterboo was running through the ass like a hot knife and some butter. Like that's not a team that we think has any type of offensive burst. Like this was a game that was close for 75% of the game, and they're basically playing with one hand tied behind their back because their best receiver, Malik Neighbors, had one catch. So it's not like they're not showing us the Kansas City that will fight. They have a pulse during the game. Oh, we're going to put you away now. You shouldn't have let us live. This team is looking like a team on life support. If they lose this game to Baltimore, I'm gonna probably put the nail in them just because the Chargers are not fumbling. So 4-0 Chargers, 5-0 Chargers, 2-3 Chiefs. It's not looking good for them. So they have concerned me. The Super Bowl hangover is real, but it's usually worse for the team that wins Super Bowl, not for the team that gets clobbered. But Kelsey hitting the wall and then throwing David Worthy against the wall, Rashee Rice hitting the wall on the highway. It's a lot of wall hitting. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. So they're concerning me. That's probably been my biggest story. And I'm not afraid to I was dancing. I'm not afraid to put them under. I don't really care for all that cheap shit, you know. I don't really care to put them away. So if they lose this game, I'll be like, y'all smell that?
I'm not operating with logic. Like I said, I felt like you last year, and they proved me wrong. And
Right.
like I talked to y'all about my fantasy team. I will be late to the party, throwing dirt on their casket. So I'm not operating with any realm of logic. And again, I think already even through 3 games, the bottom for them looks a lot worse than what it looked like the bottom was for them last year. I mean, just another year of Kelsey regression and just the lack of I mean, Worthy doesn't look like he's going to stay healthy, and Rashee Rice is out, for whatever. But I just still think, man, when it comes time to week 16, week 17, and it's like, oh, okay, but Checo has 800 yards. Oh, Rashee Rice, he's probably stacked 2-3 games in a row of, 6 or 7 catches. Oh, Worthy is actually healthy. He kind of, like, it's just, bro. Like, they shouldn't have won that Monday night. They shouldn't have won that Sunday night game against the Giants. They had 3 field goals in the first half.
Yep.
Even how bad the Giants are, they just find a way to do it. Again, this championship DNA, this intangible quality to find ways to do it, the thing that separates Philly and Kansas City from Buffalo, from Baltimore. That is something inquantifiable that we cannot rule out until it appears the personnel is so outweighs that championship DNA. Like I said, I respect you, brother. I was in that position last year. But I would be like to throw on the dirt on their grave until they can't beat bad teams.
One of my biggest surprises for this year is a guy who I've been rooting for since he came out of Duke University in 2019. And that's none other than the man Daniel Jones and the work he has done with this Colts team to get them to an impressive 3-0 start to the season after a whole bunch of controversy with Anthony Richardson, who will be the starter. They signed Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones won the job and has kind of ran away with it. You look at the way he's performed to start the year. Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones has thrown 3 touchdowns, 816 yards, and is first in the NFL in QBR. And this is a guy who people said, and this is a guy who people blame the downfall of the Giants after their lone playoff appearance on, but he has found a way to revive his career and looks very good in Indianapolis. And we have to remember, a team that came into the season with a lot of questions, losing 2 interior O linemen, not being very successful over the past few years, the continuous quarterback carousel. But it seems that Daniel Jones, or Indiana Jones, as he's now been coined, has brought some stability to that organization and has really been the driving force in turning this team from a good roster to a actual good team that nobody wants to line up against on Sundays.
As I think it just goes to the point, and we can kind of use this transition into our fandom check-ins. The environment and expectations can completely shift the narrative around somebody. Going and drafted a guy that probably shouldn't have been top 10. He had a second round grade over to right up into the draft. A guy that got drafted as a first round quarterback. You expected him to be the savior of the franchise. That just didn't pan out. With lowered expectations, better, more supportive personnel with that run game with Jonathan Taylor and a really good Colts defense, you're gonna look better. Neither New York City metropolitan area team is any place to be able to develop a quarterback. So when you get in a system that can actually prioritize their strengths instead of actively working against you, you'll look better. And I think that we've seen kind of the high end of that. I don't expect him to only punt one time every 3 games going forward, but depending on, again, I mean, we think of that division as a weak division, partly because of them. But if they're a team that ends up 9-8, relative to expectations coming out, you got to deem that a successful season. And I think that more so for me on a macro term, I would look at what is Daniel Jones doing with much less physical gifts that Anthony Richardson can do, because it would have to be a computing issue at that point.
I think you got to ask TJ that.
Whoa.
This is still a black.
Say
show.
that again.
So we're gonna slay.
I'm gonna behave. I didn't say it. I'm gonna behave. I promise I'm behave.
It's okay. We're gonna just save the black.
No. Speak your piece, TJ.
Okay.
I'm serious. Can you ask again? I answer.
I would say, how can Daniel Jones appear to be so good in this system when Anthony Richardson has much more physical gifts? As it's been proven that he can't look like this. Yeah.
You want me to answer it?
I mean, I would not. Nick says
I want to hear what you got to say about it.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna pop your shit, King.
I don't know. I feel like it's partly like they're coming from 2 different situations. Like Anthony Richardson is like the guy that they drafted to be this guy. Like you have this pressure of like he was a 4th overall pick, 3rd. Like you have to work out. Like we said you were a project, but like it's time for you to. Like he's trying to prove that he's not ass to the team that drafted him, and that's a completely different burden than trying to prove you're not ass to the rest of the league, which is what Daniel Jones was trying to do. He's like, all right, they clown me, okay, but I've been given a fresh start. Like if we've seen this all over the league, in all seriousness, Geno Smiths and Drew Brees with the injury history, and Jared Goff and Aaron Rodgers, like we've seen these guys get fresh starts. And Baker Mayfield, I'm forgetting the biggest one. Like we have seen with a fresh start, a coach who believes in you, who's been there, who's led teams. Like I know this is crazy that I'm not like saying crazy shit, but like I feel like Daniel Jones is trying to prove that he can. Anthony Richardson has been proving that. I'm like I want to show that I'm not that ass. Daniel Jones is like I want to show that I'm good. I don't know if that's not like the most elite analysis, but like Anthony Richardson is like guys, I don't suck. Daniel Jones is like guys, I'm good. Like it feels like they're in 2 different. Because if Anthony Richardson went somewhere else, what's to say he wouldn't do the same exact thing? But we have seen Daniel Jones go somewhere else, and he's like, okay, it looks like a guy who was worthy of the overall 8th pick. Because when they drafted him, I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, Daniel Jones is like, oh, and I was like, oh, who is that? Like, Anthony Richardson, on the other hand, is like, damn, who is that? But when they drafted him, he was like, oh, who is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, the difference. Like, it's like he's been trying to prove people right versus proving people wrong. He's like, all right, I want to prove that I'm not garbage, but this is the team that drafted me, and I got all this stigma around me. Should I have been drafted? Daniel Jones really doesn't care because like the Colts have nothing to lose. They didn't draft him. Like I don't even think they wanted to start him, but he didn't know that. In the way that Anthony Richardson got himself blown up in the preseason game, and everybody turned into, oh well, if everyone put on a headset for a few minutes and like, all right, well, it's clear that he doesn't know that, and like. I think that was just detrimental to him. Like he just, I'm trying not to say the shit that Josh wants me to say that I always say in the group chats. That is between I'm not going to give him the satisfaction. If we start talking about Jalen Milroe, if we start talking about some of them college clowns, I ain't gonna say no names, sellers. I won't say no names, but I don't know. It just. I was never on the hype train, but I was never anti-Anthony Richardson. Like that's one of them. You know how I am about those type quarterbacks.
Those type. Oh my gosh.
You know how I am about those type of quarterbacks. I won't.
TJ, I got it, bro. I got it. Okay.
Yeah, those quarterbacks are my cup of tea. But then again,
they're not quarterbacks.
Well, I mean, I think we do have a quarterback who looks to take Daniel Jones' spot in New York, just announced the starter today. That is your cup of tea, TJ. So looking at Jackson Dart being named the starter, relieving the deplorable Russell Wilson of his duties. How do you? Oh God, Vance came in at the right time.
Oh,
How
sorry.
do you feel
Off the
about
top
the
rope.
what do you think about the
On some
about Jackson
WWE
Dart getting his
shit.
first start?
I feel like it was. I feel like it's a panic move, not because Dart's not ready, but if he was that ready, if he's ready now, he was
He was ready
ready.
week
He
one.
was ready 3 weeks ago.
Oh
Like
God.
Yeah.
it isn't like Jackson Dart been acting a fool in practice. You drafted him first round. You traded back up into the first round to get him. You had the anticipation that he would be ready at some point to start. Russell Wilson was not that good in the 3 weeks to where you're like, okay, we can push back his timeline. That was pure fan base clamoring, like we can't take another week of being booed. Like we don't want to look like the clown show that we are. Because if he's ready if he really, it's not even week 4 yet. If he's ready at the end of week 3, he was ready at the beginning of week 1. So
No
I
cap.
am anxious to see what he can do. He was the preseason darling. Very productive at Ole Miss, physical, tough. Got a lot of Baker Mayfield in him. Can make all the throws. Will be a nice little burst of energy with Scatterboo, MAGA Scatterboo. Yeah.
Hey, that's actually crazy. An all white backfield, bro. I don't know the last time I seen it. Well, shit. I forgot the 49ers
Yeah,
play football.
I tweeted something about it, but like you were talking about deplorable Russell Wilson, that shit that he did on that red zone possession. Have you ever seen a nigga commit 3 intentional groundings in a row and only get called for one of them? He threw that bitch to the nigga under the tunnel, bro. Like I have like no receiving area. Have you ever seen somebing commit intentional grounding with no pass rush? He just threw that shit, just throw it. Like you almost had to move on from him. If they really wanted to move on from him in terms of we think there's a better fit, I think they would have started Jameis Winston because he's a more pro-ready prospect. But this is like a cover our ass move. Like we've got to get this clown out of here. But we also want the fan base to stop booing us. I think that's the Jackson Dart move. But if we just want to be a competitive franchise, competitive, competent, they start Jameis Winston because I mean, I think he'll give you if we're putting in like everything on pushing our chips to the table, James Winston gives you the best chance to win. But like, what gives you the best chance to shut the fan base up is Jackson Dart, if that makes sense.
I feel
No,
that.
it definitely does. But what you was finna say, Josh? Because I know you got a lot of experience with introing quarterbacks in New York, bro. A lot
It's
of
true.
experience.
Everybody doesn't get the greatest quarterback in ever to fall into their lap like
You
you.
talking about
So
Drake May? Yeah, I know.
no sir, no sir, not MAGA. Hey, we're not. No sir.
Oh, there he is.
Pipe,
There he
pipe
is.
down, pipe down, Papa fans. We're not talking about candy either. TJ said it right. I didn't relate that, but I think it's either two things. A is like this is a panic button move coming off less than 2 weeks after he threw for 450 yards, or this is their plan, and their plan sucks.
I
Because like
mean,
you
to
said,
be honest though, Josh, me, you, TJ, hell, even Vance with a torn labrum could have gone out and thrown for 450 against that Cowboys defense.
see, I agree though. So if you're thinking that, then it's not performance based because you can't have a game like that and then have a game. I mean, he looked horrible against Kansas City, but if we're saying okay, this is a week by week evaluation thing, you could have got him out there after week 1. He looked probably as bad as he did in week 1 and he did versus Kansas City. So I think it's either one or two things. Either this was the plan and the plan sucked, or this is a panic. This is a panic situation, and neither one is good. I think that you're not putting him in the best position against an experienced DC and the 3-0 team. I think that while Jackson Dart, I like some of the things that TJ said in terms of the Baker Mayfield comment, just how talented he is. We've seen Anthony Richardson as a laundry list of the guys in the but we've seen QBs with good foundational talent be messed up by horrible beginning circumstances and non optimal developmental circumstances. So I mean, the original I think the original archetype for that is David Carr. So I think that it should be a situation where you could have a good thing and you could really mess it up by having pushed the panic button too fast. Like I think I would have liked to see Jameis Winston. What do you sign Jameis Winston for, if not for this bridge between Russ and Jackson Dart? But it's the New York Football Giants. So I get my sliver of joy with personal fandom, knowing that as bad as the Jets will be, shout out my boy Will McDonald blocking the field goal, we will forever be, at least have a companion in misery right across the river. So I get to indulge in that. So I'm gonna just sit back and watch the shit show. But yeah, I really do think they're doing this young man a disservice. And unless he's just gonna be kind of overpower all of the expectations and the normative way that we've seen young quarterbacks develop, I think that they're gonna be in a situation again like the Jets are. They're gonna be selling for sellers, or they're gonna be joking for JKS next year. They're gonna be
damn, you burying this field already? I'm only playing one game.
I mean, I'm just saying, bro.
One game.
No. Tyrod's gonna look better. So no, I just think that just Jackson Dart is gonna have to be over. Is gonna have to defy 2+ decades of logistical quarterback development to be successful. And at the very least, the Giants gonna put him in a better spot.
But now, I want to hear you, man. Therapy session, let it all out. Tell me about the Jets and how they've started this season so far, man.
I'm currently typing in, and it's not even his fault necessarily, like TJ alluded to. Justin Fields had a really good game against the Steelers, honestly, week 1. But what I'm just typing in, NFL Draft Bus 2026 QB rankings. Let's see how bad we're gonna be. Let's see who I can get excited about. Clay Cudnick, no sir. Garrett Nussmeier, not gonna do it for me. I mean, we know my guys. We're selling for sellers, baby. We are selling for sellers. Let's bring a hometown Southern South Carolina boy to the bright lights of NYC and see what he can do. Aaron Glenn, boy, you got about one more week of this honeymoon shit before we want to really check you. Everybody was cool with you having the Earth, Wind, and Fire on the sideline after the blocked field goal. I think some of the personnel things he's not in a great position with. I think that the Brandon Stevens, hey brother, ain't no team jumping. Go ahead, put that WhoDa1 shit on. No. This is no. This
Came out Bobby Wagner, boy.
No, for sure that was crazy. This is a pain song. Put that shit on. Put that shit on that you yeah. Put that right shit on.
I got the other house. I ain't got it over here.
But I'm not discouraged by Justin Fields' performance, at least week 1. I guess I'll cling to the week 1 performance until the week 2 thing versus the Bills proves to be his truer form. We got Sauce Gardner. We got Sauce. We got Quentin Williams. Garrett Wilson still doing it for me in fantasy.
Ice Spice, team mascot.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We're just a cursed franchise, bro. We're a cursed franchise. Aaron Rodgers looks like a top 10 quarterback in the league after he couldn't do dog shit for us last year. The biggest positive that we have, I would say, our rookie right tackle Andrew Mba. He had like the highest PFF grade again amongst all offensive linemen week 1.
Yeah.
No pressure from TJ Watt. So between him and Fashanu to have 2 bookend tackles, you can definitely build around that. If AVT can ever stay healthy, at the very least, we'll have an offensive line that can push people around. But you got to have skill position players to make your offensive line look good. So, TJ, go ahead on mute for right now. But it's a lot of sellers for sellers around here, baby. Come on, Lil Norris. Glasses gang in New York, baby. Come on, talk to me, dog.
They're gonna lynch Woody. We're gonna get Woody lynched, bro. Don't the first white man ever get lynched in New York.
A nigga just got shot in the neck. You talking about lynching niggas? And a nigga just got yep. You talking all this shit, but we there is one combined win amongst 3 NFL teams that are currently represented on this pod. So
I ain't got one of them.
Let's talk. Let's go down to the boots. Let's talk about Don't Call Me White Boy Spencer Rattler, and what he got going on. How you feel about your team? Since I was the first one to jump out there. Please talk.
I don't feel about my team. Go Hawks. We turned up. You saw we turned up on them boys. But look, you know what I do? I'll talk about the Saints because I helped some of our Louisiana people. I help you a lot. So check this out. 0-3. Can we pencil in 0-4?
Oh, for sure.
All right. Am I jumping out on a limb? 17-point spread? Are you taking them points, Josh?
The points? Ooh.
You're taking the points.
You don't
like 17?
Now that I'm
I ain't gonna lie, I kind of like the Bills.
17 is not that much. They can cover that.
17 is not that much.
They can cover that.
Well,
you can cover that. For them, like they can beat us by 17. That's easy. We might not score, or they might not score.
They could definitely not take out a series they need to. Y'all could muddy up the game a little bit.
I mean, it had to be like 20-3 for them to cover 17. That's what ain't happening.
My only betting,
you know what, I get the people they want.
Those games are like that. I don't like you to touch. I think I would take anytime Chris Olave blue tint visit. I think that would be I think it would probably be like minus 150. That's still good enough odds, baby.
You know what's bad enough? They don't even take him to the tent. They take his ass straight to the locker room. He don't even go in the tent no more.
Take his ass straight
I'll
to
say
Arsenal. That's great.
The crazy part about it is, it's like sometimes we were worried about we were all like, the Saints gonna be garbage. Oh, new coaching staff. But what Kellen Moore did on Sunday afternoon was more worrisome than anything that could have been done on the field. If your team is supposed to be ass, but the linchpin is the up-and-coming coaching staff and all that, this man went for it on 4th down on the first drive of the game on the other side of the 50, comes back, get the ball back, does it again. This will go down in history. All right, if somebody in graphics editing can make me a banner, the Saints killed the tush push. The first time it has ever been flagged was when the Saints ran it, and whoever the fucking left guard was immediately flew over the ball. They called it back, and it got stuffed. So they killed the tush push, and they ran it wrong. So when the tush push goes under review, the Saints will be the ones that killed it. All right, so we didn't get either 4th down conversion. We get a punt ran back on us. Sam Darnold turned into Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers clone, dotting us the fuck up. It was 35-0 before you. I don't even 35-3 maybe. We kicked the field goal from the 20-something yard line. Mind you, we just went for it on 4th down on our 30. We're on their 20, but we decided to kick a field goal. I'm going to say that again. We went for it on our 30 and didn't get it. On their 20, we kicked the field goal. One of them he missed. Okay, so by the second quarter, and Josh kind of talked about it, that he's been playing well, but like Spencer Rattler's not to blame. But I said this earlier before we started. How many games you got to lose? Like, I don't, love the thinking, oh, well, he ain't the reason we're losing. Quarterbacks are supposed to be the reason that you're winning. If you're talking about a quarterback and the first thing you say is he's not the reason you're losing, your team is probably ass. The quarterback is supposed to be the reason why you're winning. I know quarterbacks can't overcome everything, but we don't need to be making 2 seasons worth of excuses for a 5th-round quarterback that was never supposed to play. Because as disgusting as this is about to sound, theoretically speaking, Derek Carr is still supposed to be playing quarterback for the Saints. Contractually, he's technically still supposed to be playing. It's a nuts sentence to say out loud, but these are the same people that ran off Derek Carr, who had a winning record. Check me on it, fact check me on that. But I think we won 9 games the first year. Second year, he was hurt a bunch, but I think he won the first 2 games. We're the best fucking team in NFL history, the first 2 games. So I have never experienced a first pick, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that'll be cool, first overall pick. So once we get to January, we'll be on the clock. So I think that'll be cool. Maybe we're not selling for sellers. I don't want him on my team, but
arching for forwards.
He might be arching for another year. That's like, we don't want you, you don't want us. Who will we take at number 1? That's where my head is at. Like, outside of that's where their head is at. Us Seahawks rise up, go Hawks. We're looking good this year. I just had this shit since 8th grade, so nigga can't look. You can see the back of this hole; it's all beat up. You can't say I'm a bandwagon.
But we just see the name on the back. That's how we know it's old.
This whole all tore up, bro.
Not
Nigga
bad.
can't never say rise up, flock up, 12 man. We here. I just did that Saints preview for y'all for content, but that shit there. So when y'all go back and look at this, every time I said we, change that shit to them because we good. We straight.
Man, it's folks going to jail. How quickly you up there switch? That was crazy. But yeah,
Hey, on God, bro.
Josh, we got room for you, bro. We got room for you, cuz. We'll take you in.
I'm in the portal because I can't lie. I should not be this. I should not be despondent.
Okay, what team are you thinking about? You in the portal? Where are you thinking? You thinking about going out west?
Man, I want something. I want something that's culturally similar still, because it's like I gotta like the
similar
team.
to losing, nigga.
No, blackness. You talking about losing? Fuck you, nigga. I mean, Ravens. I mean, it's black people. We kind of like we kind of been like on the side. That's like our little shot since Lamar joined them. I'm looking at
ATL,
DC.
bro.
Did you watch Michael Penix? P.I.S.
I mean, you said blackness. Raheem Moore's Michael Penix.
I mean,
it don't get no blacker
why would I go from
than a
pass?
do-rag wearing
That's left
quarterback.
cheek to right cheek movement, brother.
I think he's about to say that shit.
What? No, I need a team that's good and black. So I'm looking at the Commanders.
Oh, that's a good one. Good one.
Yeah, like I said, Baltimore feels like too much of a bandwagoner. So I'm like I said, I'm in the portal, baby. I'm in the portal. I bring a lot of energy.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick.
I got somewhere where you can land, brother.
No,
it's
sir.
not too far from. It ain't too far. Hear me out, though. Hear me out, bro. Ain't too far from New York. Same division, but we check all the boxes. You want a culture? We might not have the black culture, but we got a culture though. We got a culture. Because, I mean, if you think about it, bro, Vrabel might, slip one out there now and then. But anyway.
For sure. He definitely posted something when boy CK got shot. He definitely did. But he was a former player, so he could, like, I ain't gonna lie. That would be treason for sure. But I do rock with Vrabel. I can't lie. I like the stuff that comes out with him, like being in pads. I like Vrabel, so that would be treason. But maybe when I'm in by myself in a room where nobody's watching, maybe I can let out a little hoop for the patch. I ain't against it.
Just think about it like this, fool. All the things that you have historically struggled with the Jets, you ain't gonna have that problem in New England. You need a quarterback. We got a great one in Drake May. You need an offense that can score some points. Maybe not, because we got a fumbling problem. We played with some Diddy balls in Pittsburgh this past weekend. But
that was crazy. Yeah, okay. My boy AG over there.
That's what I'm saying.
You go from Ice Spice to Cardi B.
Oh God!
I'm about to say Diggs over there. He's sitting on my bench of fantasy, but that's a little drop in the bucket.
That's an upgrade. And
look, you want old washed up players? We got some of them too. You look at the Robert Spillanes.
Hop on over to the Garden outside of football season. Go watch your little Celtics, little Beantown hoop, your little green.
It's like I said, bro. It's in the tuck.
We'll take you on that one too if you want.
It's in the tuck. Like I said, I mean, honestly, I have, because like I said, bro, it'd be bad as a fan of my team. We've been in, I think, in the early window all 3 weeks. By 12:15, I'm on red zone, multi-view. It'd be overweight, cuz I can't lie. 15 minutes, bro. And that's 15 real life minutes. So that's only like half of the first quarter. So, I missed most of the comeback versus Tampa Bay because I was like, 26-7? Oh no, I'm good on this.
I mean, y'all are playing well in two of them games. I don't know if that I don't even want a moral victory, but y'all played two good ass games. It just
brother, moral victories the only victories I have. So
I mean, you got the dance on the sideline that'll go platinum on Twitter. So I mean,
for sure.
It could be worse. You could be losing and watching bullshit. So at least those were two entertaining ass games.
That is very true. Like I said, we
got
some young people that I like. But it is sick that Brady's out of the division and we still ass. That shit crazy. So like I said, don't tell nobody, Nick. You might
everybody ass, but Buffalo is saying, bro.
Not for real.
Because
You
I
might need to
mean,
put like the little parental advisory or like put like the little the first 48 masking on my voice. But no, like outside of I'm not gonna say that phrase. Outside of y'all boss security issues, you know, y'all a good watch, man. Y'all a good watch. And that's Diggs ain't even got involved yet.
oh
Um,
God,
so I'm interested to
it's
see.
cool
I'll
though.
let you
He
talk
got a
about.
baby on the way. You know how that turn players up.
I think they what was
Multiple
the stat I
babies.
seen on Twitter? 0 touchdowns, 2 new baby mamas.
Yep.
The boy elite. That boy. I ain't gonna say that. That boy just sparked a new
Baby
album.
mamas?
That's how hard he was hitting. He just sparked a new album. Carter ain't dropped in like what 5 years?
Hey,
He
she knows mouths to feed. It's mouths to feed, man.
kids and adults. On God. Hey, I ain't like I said, it's well, like I said, we going on. But that's just, I guess the only team that's the only team here that has upward trajectory. What you thinking, Nick? When do you think we can get to is Buffalo gonna go undefeated division? Can y'all prevent that? I guess that's the only thing
I
I
mean, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I was just looking at our schedule, and in 2 weeks, we play Buffalo on Sunday Night Football for the whole
Well,
world to
that's got to
see.
be a good game. It's on Sunday Night Football. It got to be a good game. It won't be
Yeah,
no
it's
bullshit.
got. Come on, like that. Obviously, schedule makers know what they're doing, but I will say
Yeah, they ain't gonna be no bullshit.
that game worries that the luster that we've gained through these first 3 weeks will. I'm scared that that luster will easily be lost in that
Wait, is
Sunday
it
game.
in Buffalo?
Yeah.
Oh, did the bitches play away games? What the fuck? God damn, everything
But
in Buffalo
they got such an easy
is at home.
schedule.
What the fuck?
But they got such an easy
Have they
schedule
played
through
a
the
fucking
end.
away game yet?
Uh, actually, now that you say
Some
that, I don't even.
bullshit.
No, they only play one away game.
They played y'all
But
at they played y'all at on the road, huh?
yeah,
Dude, this will be their fourth fucking home game. What the fuck?
bro,
but they gotta play on them home
they
games before it
projected
get
to
cold in
win
Buffalo,
every
bro.
remaining
You
game
cannot
on
play
their
no away
schedule, bro.
game in Buffalo, bro. Like, I mean, they make them do it.
Did you say when they're projected to win every? Has that ever been done before?
Not that I know, but they are, like I said, they are favored to win every game. Well, the rest of their games this season, bro. Buffalo is.
You know what? To be honest, y'all always give them a heart attack in one of them games. Like that game
Yeah,
last year, y'all was up for most of that game. Yeah, that was the second time y'all played last year. It was later in the season, huh?
it was week
That was a good
18, so
ass
I don't
game.
even count that shit, bro. That was Joe Milton versus Mr. Trubisky, bro.
No. I'm sorry. It was the first. Josh Allen played in this game. It was a game that was bullshitting. It was bullshitting
Oh,
the whole
it
first
was
half.
a Thursday game. I know exactly which game you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good ass game. That was a good ass game. Yeah, I feel like what better team to catch them slipping than a division team? That's how division games supposed to go. Like you supposed to. Okay, yeah, they're gonna beat the fuck out of us. Like, oh, sorry, the Saints, them, whoop de doo. Like they supposed to do that, but see, they gonna go 17-0? No, fuck no, fuck
I
no.
don't I refuse to see it, bro. That's
It's
gonna
not
ignite the
happening.
wrong crowd, bro.
Man, fuck that. The Saints gonna beat them bitches. Fuck them.
Okay, maybe not them, but somebody
Beat them.
else. Yeah, they'll
They
go
gonna beat them.
15-2.
Somebody gotta beat them. Somebody gotta beat it. Wait, can we pull up the schedule? Can we pull up the
Yeah,
schedule? I don't see this shit.
Bills remain in schedule. They
All right,
got the Saints coming up this Sunday, as you said, TJ,
that's free
and
50.
then followed by that is New England, as I said, Sunday night.
Okay, wait, can you give me a way home? Because that's how I'm gonna do
Oh
it.
yeah,
That's my
yeah.
plan.
Okay, so Saints come to Buffalo this
That's
Sunday.
free W.
Patriots come to Buffalo Sunday after.
That's a squeaky like 23-14 type shit. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a squeak game.
After that, Bills go to Atlanta.
Ooh, yeah, they gonna bust that ass. It's gonna
Then
be
go to Carolina week after that.
that's free.
And of course, after playing two NFC South teams, the Chiefs come to Buffalo.
Ooh. What the fuck?
Obviously, a healthy
Are they
Chiefs.
gonna play a high leverage game not in that bitch ass stadium? Oh my god, bro. That
Mm,
lopsided ass fucking state. They gonna lose that game to Kansas City. I'm gonna put that down as an L. I'm gonna put that
all right.
down as an L.
I ain't gonna lie. So
Maybe.
after Kansas City, Bills go to Miami. But after Miami, Tampa Bay and Baker Mayfield come to Buffalo.
Ooh. That's that game that won me all that bread a few years back off the Mike Evans head tap. That was a good ass. It's a good ass.
Nigga remembering games about the slips he put in.
Cause I had a
that's border the hotline, baby, brother.
It's crazy, bro. You said that, but I'm gonna read this off to you. Go ahead, nigga. I'm gonna read this off to you. Nigga talk about hotline, but this is a hotline bling. Let me read this shit off to you.
So after Buccaneers, Bills go to Houston. Bills go to Houston, then Pittsburgh, and then Bengals, Patriots, Browns, Eagles, just to close out. Goddamn, 226. Let me hold $1, brother.
Man, you know my situation, brother. Let me hold something.
260. I had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Kincaid, Allen, and Gabe Davis for a touchdown. It was $10 and win 2260. That bitch hit because Mike Evans caught that. Mike Evans caught that shit off that nigga helmet, bro. I almost fucking fell out, bro. It was the last play of the game. I almost fell out. But go ahead. You said Tampa Bay. Who else?
Tampa Bay. Go to Houston. Go to Pittsburgh. Cincinnati come to Buffalo. Go to New England. Go to Cleveland. Philly come to town, and then Jets come to town.
Okay, this nigga's gonna sound crazy, but Houston gonna beat them. They're gonna lose to Houston. That's been they play all the time. That's been a crazy game every time they play. The Texans might not have nothing to lose. As long as nobody gets hurt, the Texans might not have nothing to lose at that point just to beat them niggas. Because they 0-3? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Texans 0-3, yeah. They cook.
You said that was at like week 13 around? What week is that?
18, 17, 16, 14,
12.
I think 12. Yeah, week 12.
Oh, yeah. Buffalo will be like 10-1 by then. They'll have won the spot. They're going to lose that game. Niggas clip me saying that shit. CJ Stroud and Amber Rose and them, they going to win that game. It's in Houston?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a W for Dre and them for the Jalen Green game. The IG dot game. Gonna go on.
But yeah, man. Shit. It's another episode of No Cap Sports, huh?
We did it. We did it, y'all. We've done it. Did a damn thing.
I pray that y'all's teams can reach the successes mine have so far through these first 3 weeks. You know, we won one game. Obviously, TJ, your team or your
my team 2-1. Nigga, what are you talking about?
You're right, fool. My fault. Please.
That other nigga team 0-3. Y'all ask him when he come back on the show next time about the Saints. But me, we rising up, baby. This is the 12th man. You ask that other nigga when he get across the river by his mama with the other Saints shit. When he put that shit on, you ask him about it. But me, Sam Darnold, Kenneth Walker, Reek Woolen, you heard me? We going all the way, baby. Cooper Kupp, he's still there. He still got Torrey Horton, Rookie of the Year. Come on now.
Talk that talk, twin. Talk that talk, man. And like that, shit, we out of here, man.
He's the boom.